Hey everyone, I'm Wa.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to DocuSweeties.
We're two longtime friends who discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docu-series.
Yes, but through our own lens, which is littered with the different flavors from last night's Postmates delivery. But at the end of the day, hopefully mildly sweet. Hi.
Hello!
Hi. We are so pumped to just be giving you this really late in the game, a whole week late episode of 90 Day Fiancé, the other way, toe. It's season 5. It's episode 11. It's called Breaking Bad. And so that's a television show. And on the list of television shows that I know are good and I haven't watched, just like Mad Men and The Wire and The Sopranos and Arrested Development and like what's the ones that really every time someone asks me if
Parks
I've
and
seen
Rec.
any of these shows, say it
Parks
again.
and Rec.
No, I didn't watch Parks and Rec as much as I really did watch a lot of 30 Rock. All the shows I said, if you ask me in mixed company, half the time I'm gonna lie. I didn't want to hear it because the other one you're just gonna get big eyes and someone try to shame you, and it's well, you know what? I did watch all 90 Day Fiancé. So listen, we all have priorities. But listen, I like good television shows. It's not that I don't like good television shows, but for some reason, good other pieces of art trump me in watching. I'd rather see good theater. I really would love to go see an amazing, symphony music performance. I like TV, and I get that I'm a TV actor, but it just sometimes feels a little on the nose to watch. It doesn't fill me with excitement. It doesn't inspire me like watching other pieces of anyway. Don't worry, we're not gonna derail this. We'll talk trash. Go ahead.
I would like to derail I'm on the same train as you right now, but I'm about to get off, okay? So what it is yes, I've never watched Arrested Development because that show wasn't written for me too. I started watching Parks and Recs because my friends were like, it's so great, and it's all right. And then Office, hilarious, top tier. Office, top tier.
Yes, and 30 Rock, right?
I didn't watch 30 Rock. I didn't. Okay. Yeah, is that Liz Lemon?
Yes, but I think that I'll even say The Office is better than 30 Rock, but I loved 30 Rock.
Oh, yeah, I didn't watch that one. And then you mentioned 2 others. Oh, Breaking Bad. I've tried to watch Breaking Bad twice, and each time I'm so bored out of my mind that I have to quit. Yeah, I mean, I've gotten to season 3 and I'm like, oh, I hate this character and I just can't. I've tried. So to me, if someone's like, oh my God, you haven't seen it, I'm like, I don't like it. So I tried twice. And then you mentioned another one. Mad Men. I watched that. It's good. I think you would like it from a lady perspective. It feels
The Wire.
The Wire. Oh, so good. But it's also about things that you're not interested in. It's like police, drugs, kids doing things that are terrible. You know what I mean?
Are you interested in those things?
Yeah. I like the slice of life. I like to see how other people live. I'm like, wow, this is crazy that folks left with it. Sopranos, I did watch because it was during the time. The same thing with The Wire. It was HBO was coming out with all the hard hitting shows, and so I did watch The Sopranos. I've watched it twice actually.
You also told me recently, because I think we were talking about Sister Wives. I hope it was you, because other people have said it. Now at least 14 other people, if I bring up Sister Wives, are like, did you watch Big Love? And I was like, no, I never watched Big Love, which of course is a polygamy HBO show. But yeah. You did.
I watched that too. Yeah, I just like to see when anything is telling me about people and how they may or may not live. I'm interested in it. Sopranos does the same thing too. It shows mob life.
But that's why I like docuseries. It's that's the same thing. I do that too. Do you know how much Locked Up I've watched?
They won't let me.
You were like, oh, it has things you don't like to know about, like police and stuff like that. And I was like, does she know how much Locked Up I want? I've been watching Locked Up. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with prison culture. I'm obsessed with prison sexuality. I've done deep dives on
You've seen Oz?
No, because
okay.
Sometimes
Sorry.
I don't care so much, and this is what it is, the crux. I don't care so much about the scripted version of the thing that I have to learn. I will watch it, but if there's an actual docuseries version, and you can go back and forth of what's real and what's fake, for some reason, that's where I'm more like, get me in. I want to see it all. Toddlers and Tiaras was that way. Just like prison culture, another culture I was not in, and the ins and outs and the politics crazy, who's on top, who's on bottom in both Toddlers and Tiaras and Locked Up. Very interesting. Lot of parallels. You know?
That's great. So I'm off the train, and now let's get back to our first couple, and that is going to be our late in the game couple. Remember them? Where'd they go?
That's not them.
Sarper and Shekinah.
Yeah.
Your notes. Your notice
Okay.
first.
So, yeah, we're gonna pick up on, Sarper being Sarper, and he is so specifically a character. What he feels like an over the top caricature, and like you're like, okay, he wants someone who's a muscle man who like wants to be alpha, who like considers himself a ladies' man, like could never be tied down because of how much pussy he's been in, like that's in his mind, his tape or whatever. But so we get him and his like gelled hair in such a way that almost looks like an anime character, or that it very much is stuck. You're like, what's happening? Sometimes I can't tell if it's gel or if it's salt and peppery and leaning on the salt. Like it's so, because the white sheen coming off of what is either product or grays, I mean, is neither here nor there. He also has a double diamond earring on both sides.
I mean, Chris, how else is he going to show he's rich?
With watches or cars or homes or investments, or how he tips or how he treats people. I mean, hopefully well, I guess. I'm sorry, treating people is not about how wealthy you are, but
you're like watch, basically. You want him to wear a diamond encrusted watch.
There's options.
There's options instead of these garish earrings. Yeah, so she gets there and she's so happy that he's gotten flowers, and he has to remark again how he's never done that. And they get into the car, and she's just like, I'm so happy for what's going to happen. Everything is great. And then they get to his home, and his home, it's like it's like, who are these women? I mean, if I listen, that headboard, Chris, if somebody were to, I'm like, oh, I can't. You're nasty. You have bumps on your pee-pee.
I mean, first and foremost, that is the crux of all of it. Anytime you have anyone who, brags about that much sex, where in this man, the numbers are like, 80s basketball player numbers, where you're just like, who, and it is a mark of pride for him. And like, you can tell when he says it, it's like, hey, I got it, like that it feeds a part of his ego, like there's something into it. And it's so interesting because as a female, like it's yeah, all I think is it's a diseased dick, honey. I can't do that. It's a diseased dick, and yeah, okay, well, let's just say I didn't have that. The other half of me would think that this person would not be good in bed because there would be an overly either not genuine, sincere, or performative quality to when he wants me to think that he is posing and or doing it well for me, and or a selfishness of like, of expecting me to do certain things because he thinks he's hot.
Yeah.
And across the board, it's like, no. I don't want to ever be put in any of those positions. Like all of it turns me off. So anyway, it's just so interesting that like, but from his perspective, he would not know that. Like when he doesn't know that his apartment's gross. He doesn't know that at 40, like he can't see the eyes of other people and be like, this looks weird. And, did you just graduate college or whatever call it here? Like, like, and that his headboard, it's unlivable. And no person worth their salt and who had like self-respect would allow themselves to lay there. And I know there might be some times where you are blind to certain things, like certain, like, the dirty corner in your house where you're like, oh, your friend has to be like, will you put that away? And you're like, oh, you're right. Maybe I should. I don't know like what level of that this is,
No, this is the one where you should. It's peeling. That means that this thing is damaged and is no longer good. And it's like white leather. It's like, come on. That's this weird. It's so old. So she's also grossed out by it, and she's like, you need to change your bed. I told you to change your bed before, I got here. And I'm like, this is strike one, Shekinah. He's not going to do what he doesn't want to do because he feels like you should just be grateful to be in his presence to begin with. Also, I mean, I was looking at her, and then the way she talks, like the influence that Kim Kardashian has had on her is like astounding. And it's not even current Kim. Like current Kim is all about like slender, sleek, high cheekbones, like a different look. And I think Shekinah is giving like 2011 Kim Kardashian.
She really, she looks different. She almost like has the kind of makeover that that Heidi did on the Hills. Heidi Montag started the Hills as being like Elsie's like friend with like kind of like a closer set eyes and a sharp jaw. And she, that person looks the way she does now. And she kind of does too. There's something that happens when people try too much to change the structure of their face with fillers, and or they do too much. Like, I think Tori Spelling is another example where I'm like, with fillers and Botox, the best you can hope for is to add a certain amount of symmetry to your face, to the features that you have. Yes, you can do a little filler on your lips. Yes, I do think that like people get nose jobs and it changes their life. Some people get nose jobs and they have really recessed chins, and so sometimes people get like chin filler. But when you do it, when you try and do it all, it's like you aren't making the face that you have asymmetrical. You bought yourself a brand new face that's still not perfect, and then you're trying to make that asymmetrical now.
Yeah, she does not look like her.
I'm sorry. I
self.
think this whole time I've been saying asymmetrical, and so sorry. Symmetrical.
Yeah. It is. She doesn't look like her former self. She looks like she went from being on The Bachelor to being on like Rock of Love.
She kind of looks more like she was like on a TLC 4 Weddings episode and then went on Rock of Love. Okay. By the way, I mean, 4 Weddings are like one of the best television shows that was on TV. Like that, My So-Called Life. I'll die on that hill. But yeah, basically, she really puts it to him and stands the ground of this. So she just, another part of the annoying part to me, whatever, of their relationship that people haven't pointed out is that he, and again, I said this, he is basking in this, like, I'm very alpha male. I like things my way. And then she's like, he wants to be like this. So I'm just being whatever. And this bed is disgusting. And she told him to not have it be disgusting. She'd been knowing. She put a boundary very early on, and it's very hard to put boundaries on anything all the time, especially because in their gender role situation of them really subscribing, it seems like, to at least trying to cosplay this, whatever, that she would ever go with the flow in such a way. But it was so disgusting. She's like, get a new bed, and this monster didn't. So then what we see is like, she's like, okay, well, great choice. I will be sleeping out here. So now you have to make up your couch. And so he makes up the couch and he's like, oh, you want to make me do this? You make me do it. She's like, oh yeah. And you're going to fucking learn a lesson. And then he comes and like sleeps on the couch. Half of me want to be like, oh, I'm sorry. Your couch isn't big enough for both of us. So I'm not going to, you can go back to your den of iniquity. I don't know. So like, just like heathen, just like germ warfare. Like also, what would you do? Can I ask a question? Like, would you make, okay, there was this whole horrible pop culture moment where, and I hate this moment, but it came out in a bit Kim Kardashian in the ass. And I've gone up and down the Kardashians, and now I'm completely over them. And I just like, can't wait for them to be over. But this moment happened where like Kanye and Kim had been together. And then Kanye said, and this is something that he did, so he should be, held, accountable. And he has his own issues, that when he got with Kim, that Kim made him take 1,000 showers because it previously been with Amber Rose. Okay. Amber Rose had to like comment on that as being like horribly tacky. What the fuck would you say that, and it's true. Having said this, let's get to this. If you found yourself with like someone like Sarper, what would you make this person do in order to be clean enough for you?
Make sure that there's no, like, the bathroom would need to be clean. Like, he seems like he's a mess. Like, the bathroom's dirty because he's doing so much in product. That bed, 100%. That bed is disgusting. Like, he has had it for 10 years. It is time to get a new one.
Headboard
Also,
out, mattress out, all the
yeah,
bedding, all the pillows, throw everything
pillows.
away.
Yes, because another bitch's head has been on
Towels.
this.
I don't even
Yeah,
trust the towels. No, I
yeah. The
especially
whole. It's all got to go. Now, here's the truth. I am somebody, unfortunately, and this is, maybe I shouldn't do this. One, I would not have slept on that couch because I'm pretty sure that couch is fucking disgusting as well.
she put a sheet down. There was a sheet down.
Okay, there was a sheet down. Hopefully the sheet was thick enough. The fibers were woven densely. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't believe it. But then also
220 thread
yeah,
count.
yeah. I hope that the fact that both of them could sleep in his couch, I really enjoyed that, and it really made me go, "Wow, my couch is not deep enough. I really want a couch where two people can comfortably lay." That's the next one. That putting of her foot down, I would have just bought a new bed. Like, I'm like, unfortunately, if I'm going to stay here for the next 3 months with you and, you may not have enough money to get a new bed, because that's all it says to me. It's not that he didn't want to, it's that he doesn't have enough money to just like drop $5,000 on a new mattress and a new bed. Because that's about how much it's going to cost, right? Like $3,000 at the least. Mattress is $1,000. I mean, I don't know how things are in Turkey, but if it were in the States, it would be that expensive for that bed set.
Yeah, I mean, I think he can get a new mattress easily for like 500. Like I think you can get a Lisa or a Casper for something cheap. But he's like, what do you want me to do? Want to replace my dick too? And I'd be like,
yes,
oh, if that's an option,
absolutely.
yeah, let's get everything turned in.
Let's
Look at this. So she puts a sheet down on the couch. She gets in, and then he, of course, like I said, is like, okay, I'm gonna come in. So then he gets into the bed in his outside fucking clothes, and she is like, absolutely not. No, you take out your goddamn outside. Can you go take out your outside clothes? And he does. And so, I said they make out with nip. Did they make out and they show her little nipple or something like that?
I didn't know what you were saying.
They make out with nip. I don't know. Maybe that was, I don't know. But yeah, I was thinking, did that happen? But I will say that what I want to see is for her to subtly change this barbarian into someone that she can feel comfortable with, and or that she just slowly realizes how much better that she is than him. Like, I think that he might be a barbarian, but it's like I still will give him some benefit of the doubt that maybe he just has to like have a good woman that that he wants to settle down with and will like acquiesce to her. Probably not, but
yeah,
should I give him this now? It's early on, at least for them in the series.
It's halfway early on for them. But. Yeah, you're right. I think that sometimes you can just be complacent. Like right now, my apartment is not suitable for other people. However, if people were to come in, it would be. Everything would be clean. You'd walk into the smell of like anthropology, volcano candle, and bleach. Like, I'm sorry, those are two different smells, but like that's what would happen.
That's why you have two nostrils.
Yeah. So like that's exactly what would happen. So it's just really interesting that he's like is unaware of it. Now, if she makes him aware of it and he still doesn't fix it, that's a problem. But what we need to do right now, Chris?
Yeah, I do, because we want to buy more beds.
Yeah. Yeah. So we need to like go on a commercial to allow the bed buying to occur. We'll be back.
And make out with nip. Wait, I'll be right back.
Okay. Locked up, they won't let me out. They won't let me out. Locked up. I'm so starving. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to get some, this is disgusting, but this is disgusting. I was in the grocery store and I was like, I would like some battered shrimp. So I bought frozen battered shrimps, which I've literally never fucking bought in my entire life. So I'm going to put that in the air fryer along with some French fries. I'm going to give me some tartar sauce and some cocktail sauce. And I'm just going to have a little thing that you hate. You don't want it. I know you hate it, but thank you for not saying that.
My only thought was, it won't be frozen battered shrimp. Can you get freshly battered raw shrimp and then do it?
No, if they have it, but I already bought it. Okay,
well then, no, you can't. All right.
Look at Patreon. Look at her judgment. Look at her judgment. I'm gonna make this work.
No, it's okay. Can I be honest? I can't judge you. I would do chicken nuggets.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't see the chicken nuggets. I saw the butterfly shrimp, Southern style. So I want to see what that tastes like, and some French fries, and like, yeah, I'm just gonna have a little like situation, and it's gonna be great.
Put it on the TikTok.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Let's jump back in. We came back at, let's say, 2015. So much money. Thank you guys so much for listening to those commercials. We appreciate it. So next couple that we're going to talk about, and this is awful. She is awful. Like, it's like
she doesn't look like this.
She doesn't
such a weird picture. I don't understand this picture at all. Okay.
To me, this picture shows that she could easily have a double chin. Okay.
Now, I think she's a shapeshifter, and we don't even know what form she's in now.
Yeah, you're right. You know, she's clairvoyant, so I couldn't imagine that those powers extend to other mystical woo-woo things. So, Chris, is it that she's young or she has no home training? Which is it? No young, no home training, and also no loyalty.
She wasn't raised right.
Yeah, no home training. Great. Okay. Because she's so stuck in whatever trauma happened to her, and she can yell, but no one can yell at her or yell about her. And so
she raised a brat. You know,
yes.
they did that.
Yeah. To the point where she doesn't even know how to act in front of people's parents. And that is just very like, and she's Southern. So like, there's, to me, like Southern folk have a somewhat of a something type of genteel about manners and shit, but she's a different type of Southern. That thing, that's not in her DNA.
Yeah. I think that in her mind, it's a very simple thing. For her to feel comfortable in those genes, in front of those people, without having a sensitivity or empathy on how they live, how they dress, and how they have everyone in their home, like it denotes a complete lack of respect and or any sort of willingness to make other people feel comfortable in your presence, which at the top, the top of etiquette's game, or the top, the heightened calling of being polite, is just to make other people feel comfortable. Like, with dining etiquette, like all you're trying to do is to showcase that you can eat and make people look at you and not want to throw up because you're like, whatever it is. Like it's so that we're all in mixed company. We're all together feeling okay. And like, yeah, when you dress provocatively, and listen, that's a sliding scale, you can make some other people feel like weirded out. That's why, you still shouldn't, dress like a, crazy person in either way when you're on a plane or something, or like, when you go to Disneyland, like there's certain, and in this case, you're in a ethnically conservative person's home who where you are should be kissing their asses and literally their feet every time you see them, as being like someone who you want to impress, but none of that's there.
Yeah.
And I think that being not there is her parents' fault, and or her being, and or you can just say that maybe she is like on some sort of mental borderline personality disorder, allegedly, situation that would make her unempathetic enough that she wouldn't be able to have that gene in her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel like whatever trauma happened to her made her go, well, I'm just going to be me. Because that happened to me. Like, I mean, I literally went through like too long of my life being like, I'm just gonna be me. Like, it's me. I have opinions. I'm gonna say them. If people don't like it, it makes me sad. People don't like it, but I'm just gonna be me. And like, sometimes you just have to learn how to get out of it, which is why I think there's a part of use in that. But when I decide to move to, another country, if and when, right? I am going to 100% adapt to their ways, like as much as I can, right? If they're like, you gotta, do whatever, I'm like, can I hire somebody to do that? But like, it just feels like she has no sense of that. And so she's so upset because her family's there and she's crying and she's like, they won't let me be me. And her dad kind of feeds into that and is like, well, they know you're American. And I keep being like, but she's not in fucking America. So like, she just needs to chill. And then she's rude to Yesh. and doesn't even want to say bye before she leaves. And I know we're going back to old episodes, but I'm just tallying everything up. So they have dinner with she has dinner with her family. Now her family already knows that something's up. And TJ gets there and he is all smiles, all polite. How is everyone doing? Like, I'm so happy. And she can't even control herself. It's like she wants her parents and family to tell him and read him his rights, and it's like that's like the kind of Chantel and Pedro shit. Like whenever someone throws their significant other under the bus who isn't like abusing them, like I'm always like, I don't understand why this needs to happen. She asks a question, can I be me? And he tries to answer it without just being like, no. And she's like, answer the question. He didn't answer the question. I'm gonna tell you right now, when she did that, my dad would have been like, Wahima. Yeah. Wahima. Like, even if you're upset, this is not an appropriate venue in which to have this conversation, and you're making everybody feel fucking awkward and weird. So if you weren't ready for us to get to know your gentleman, then you shouldn't have set this up, because this is not going to be like my Americans family here, and they're going to support me wanting to do what I do. And I wish that he had just come out, TJ, and just said, in my culture, that's not what happens. We are a family unit. And as a family unit, there's going to be expectations for her to do. And he's like, and you know, for her to be like, well, the only reason I'm there is because you're there. And he's like, well, I'm going to remain there. So you are going to remain there as well if you want to marry me. And if that's something you cannot do, I love you so much, but we can't be married because I'm not moving to, you know, Kentucky with you. I don't know, girl. It's just like a lot.
I know it. But yeah, she is basically like, answer the question. He's like, no, ma'am, you are not my teacher. And that happens in front of her dad. And it feels definitive, you know, it was a reactionary, very real and perfect response.
Yeah.
Because she was pressing him, do this. No, I wanted it. And it's like, who the fuck do you think you are?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I don't have to do the exact thing that you are asking me in this moment. I don't know who you think you are. You're my mother and my teacher. You know, you're definitely not my wife. And I agree. I agree. This is like such an awkward thing. She feels cringy, and it's so funny because the other half of her is very much like, but I want this to happen so bad, and I can't imagine this not happening.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you want this to happen so bad and you can't imagine this not happening, you and every choice that you have made is literally just like dousing the entire wedding, this beautiful, gorgeous, gem colored wedding that you hate, in gasoline and lighting a match. Like that's the choices you're making.
Chris, it is just so, I'm appalled at the behavior because yeah, you're right. She absolutely is like, I can't imagine this not happening. However, I hate everything about the circumstances in which this is going to happen. And then she keeps using the word freedom. And I really, really hate when Americans use the word freedom, because as like a descendant of American chattel slavery, freedom to me means a completely different thing. You can get up and walk out that house every single morning. No one is chaining you to anything at all. You have options, but the options that you want is to cook garlic, which is such a stupid ass thing that you really want to be able to do. Listen, I will drop garlic. I mean, it's hard. I'll drop garlic in a second, because there's so many other yummy Indian dishes that don't have garlic in it and are still as delicious. So it's just stuff like that she's like, I'm not allowed. We have liberty. We have freedom in the US. And I'm like, there are women in the US who are not free right now, living with abusive people. There are people in the US who are not free, who are not even close to dealing with something that you're dealing with right now. And for you to say that as though like you're walking with a flag on your back down the street showing how superior America is, because as an American you're allowed to be rude and mean to people and no one should bat an eye because you're free. Like this, no one's saying you're not free, girl.
It's like the garlic thing is tied into, like, the religious and cultural stuff, like, something about
Yeah.
she's so, creepy with the whatever fake spirituality, I wish that they could just, like, throw it back in her face, being like, "Well, well, then freedom is us, we don't want any weird witches in our house.
Yeah.
How about some freedom? The freedom of exercising our wants and our needs is we don't want some weird witch in our house."
Yeah.
So, like the house that already we live in. So we've already been making the rules. No garlic, no witches. So I really I hate her so much. And I really this is a very telling to have this conversation out in public with her dad and her stepmom. And with the stepmom, I'm looking at this woman, I'm like, whose side are you really on?
Yeah.
Are you really, do you go throughout your life thinking that your stepdaughter is like with it and
Rational.
incredibly emotionally mature
Mhm.
and incredibly eloquent and expressive with the way that she thinks and feels and
Mhm.
empathizes with others enough that if she's truly feeling this way so loudly, it must be so horrible for her? And have you never seen any other victimy behavior, any other narcissistic behavior from this person that's ever affected you? How? I can't imagine you haven't seen it affect any other people for you to sit there and kind of be quiet. Now, the dad is her actual dad. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, with him, I'm like, am I watching someone who's just enabled someone up to this point and is on TV and doesn't know how to fix it and is trying to be like as chill as possible? Am I watching a man that didn't do a lot or wasn't ever present and even know who his daughter is and not to know any of this is real? Like, what's the deal with her real mom? I forgot. Well,
I don't know. I think they got divorced. That's all I can tell. The real mom's not there, so something
I want to
happened.
know what the real mom thinks of her and her personalities
I mean,
and
I feel
her
like
flares.
people I think that sometimes people get the love they have for their child for the embarrassment that the child displays. Like she's unable they're unable to like check her in that moment because they probably never checked her. She's probably had temper tantrums and they just kind of move through it normally. Whereas like my immigrant parents or my immigrant father and my mother, no, that would have never happened. It's
The
just
next
crazy.
morning, she wakes up. They had fight all night long, texted fight all night long. She looks gothic, is what I put it off, and she just look no, she look crazy,
She has no idea
and
about makeup. It's like she knows to put something somewhere and then no concealer, bags under her eyes, crazy.
no, she knows everything about everything. Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So she knows everything about everything. She knows all, sees all, is all. So he decides in his wise mind, and I am sure in the comfort arms of a brother and a mom holding him as he's being like, I can't do this. And he tries to cut it off. Okay. She says that she knows that she can be a bitch and a handful. And I want to be like, do you? But like, that's something Jasmine would say too, I feel like, like where it's like, oh, you're way worse. No, no, you're I mean, a bitch and a handful. I'll tell you what a handful is. My one titty is a handful. You are a fucking nightmare. What are you talking about? A
That
handful.
was a good one, Chris. That was great. Yeah.
Well,
So
one thing is one time I dated someone, or I think I was talking to someone, or maybe something like that, and he talked about like perfect breast size. He's like, more than a handful is a waist, and like being like, don't date someone who has more than a handful of boobie. And I remember just being like, oh. So long, farewell, I need to say
do I
adieu
do
to
do
you,
you and
adieu,
you and
adieu.
you.
So anyway, go on. Sorry, go on.
No, I mean that's all I have to say about them.
Okay.
Let's move on to Wayne and Holly.
Okay.
Wayne and Holly. Okay, so they're going on some mystery trip that he is really excited to show them. And this mom has lost her eyelashes. And I did not, well, I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared.
No. Why did Holly put him back on for her?
I don't know. I just bought myself an eyelash kit where you like just,
Lashify?
no,
Lashify?
no.
Oh, sorry.
You like, you get a bonding and like a seal and you get like individuals and then you just do some stuff and put it on. I'll show it to you when it's done. It's coming from Amazon. And I think it's gonna change my life. You can keep them on for like 5 to 8 days, and then you gently like wash them off, and then you put in a new set.
So obviously it sounds like what I kept screaming at you. It's like an Amazon version of Lashify, right?
Okay, I'm sorry. What's Lashify?
Okay. Lashify sounds like what you're talking about. You put them on the
Mm,
outside of your eyes. So, like, when you lay down and okay, so someone else was doing your eyelash extensions, you'd be closing your eyes and they'd be putting them on
the top.
the top of your lashes, as your eyes are closed. But when you do them yourself, your eyes are going to be open, and so you put them on at the base of your
Yeah.
lashes, close to your eyeball.
Yeah.
So that's, to me, that kind of like technology of at home eyelash extension so far has been this brand called Lashify, but they've obviously come up with other
Oh
ones. Hey,
yeah.
have
There's
another
many.
sponsor here. You can check
Yeah,
us
there's
out. I don't
many
know.
different things. I'll show you and rate
Like,
it.
it's like if Lashify is listening, they want to give Wah a sponsorship.
Yeah. She'll take
She'll
it.
do it.
I'll be batting these eyes in a second.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're going on some kind of mystery date or mystery like family outing, and she's like, where are we going? And he's like, I'll give you a clue. And then he proceeds to make monkey noises. Now I was triggered just because like somebody who was being racist made monkey noises at me at some point in my life, and like it's a thing that happens. And so I was just like, are you going to go see the black people? Like, what's happening? Are you And so they end up going on some kind of safari, and
Oh, kind of say, so then she makes the ape noises. He makes the ape noises, and then she goes, "Oh, are we going to see your family?"
oh yeah, that did happen. That's rude. That's rude as
But
fuck.
I just wanted to say that that's what she did. She lost. Listen, she lost some lashes. She picked up some jokes. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. So they get to the safari, and everyone's like, "Oh, they say enter at your own peril. Beware of lions and tigers and bears. Where are we going?" And then they meet his sister, who I didn't realize that was his sister until like part of it. I thought they just get real friendly with this random woman with great. I like her blonde hair. Um,
I called her a cackling hyena lady with eyebrows. Yeah, we don't know this is sister, and then suddenly she is enjoying her time. Which looks so. This is why she's enjoying her time, and then we start to kind of be like, is this random Biddy flirting with Wayne in front of Holly and Holly's mom? Is what I'm thinking, because the editors are doing this to us. So like they want us to talk about this woman is suddenly like, no, I can't even do it. Let me do it again. I can't. It's like there is such a laugh that happens that is just pointed and specific that I'm like, is this real? And again, is Wayne now flirting with this person? But then yeah, that's his sister, and they're just lifelong friends, big buddies.
yeah, I was like, he's super friendly with this lady. The eyebrows, I put up a picture of it, and we all know that sometimes people do that, and they did it in like 96, and it's fine. So I then see them get out of whatever ride they were on, and I noticed that this grown ass esthetician woman who does hair has on a teddy bear backpack, like she's a raver kid from 1998.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, gosh, Holly is just annoying to me at all time. So she's upset that they shouldn't be doing this like 2 days or a day before the wedding. She's like, this is not something that we should be planning the wedding.
It's funny just because, like, side note, it's like they always like tell you, like old people be like, you have to dress your age, but then like when you're young, you want to have some fun and like and not dress your age, or whatever. And it's funny because then you see someone like Holly and that where you're like the like it's so far off your age that it registers as Bananarama crazy, where it's like if you are expressing yourself through your fashion, I like wonder, like, it's like, oh, I'm young, I'm cute, I just use a bear, like I'm just like a demure girl that uses a bear. Like, I wonder, like, if that's what you are trying to say. And I would wonder if she knows, just the same way that, we're like how I was talking about what Sarper like thinks people's perception of him and like what it truly is like, to me, to see that picture, if I saw that woman out and about with that hair, the hair and the bear, honey, I'm like, get me out of hair. Get me out. I can't be neither here nor there next to that hair and that bear. Nowhere ever. I'm just like literally it registers as wildly scary.
And here's the truth. You can have your own style, but make it make sense. It's like she's not fully doing the like cutesy girl kawaii thing or wearing her makeup in a way that indicates that her style is something, because there are people who have styles that are completely different, but it still tracks. Like their style still looks like some style. It's like when I see like older ladies in New York City, and I mean, listen, she's wearing like big bangles, she's got a Floyd dress on, she's got a long necklace on, but it's within that style. Like I can tell that that's her style. Holly's doing a poor job of representing the things that she likes.
I
Yeah.
question her taste level.
Oh,
I want to say, do you notice that Wayne's sister says Wayne like Juan?
Yeah.
The way she said his name was so bananas. I was like, what did he say? Instead of like Wayne, or like I don't like how do you say Wayne in a South African accent? Go ahead.
It's from South Africa, and I'm Wayne.
Yes, but the way that she said it was Juan, Wine. It was not Juan. It was Juan.
It's because
or something like what?
It might be some cute thing where when she was little, she couldn't say his name. Yeah, it could be something like she couldn't say his name when she was little, and so it just stuck. Like his,
you're right.
For him, his name is Wayne to everybody else, but in her little, I don't know what their age difference is, but in her little bitty brain, she couldn't say Wayne, so she just said Wang, something like that.
Would you call your siblings?
I call them by their government.
When you were real young, you couldn't say them all right.
Yes.
There was no way. When Wasani, you could talk so well that when Wasani was born, you were like, hello, Wasani.
Yes.
How old are you? Much older than him? Like 2 years?
3.
You're 3 years. You weren't like, hi, Wasani. You just didn't miss one. You're saying you hit everyone like you didn't.
I don't have if I did, I don't have a memory of it. But okay. I was an early talker. My mom is like, I'm like, Dad, when do you remember me talking? He's like, forever.
Poor thing.
Yeah, like they were traumatized. Like it was just I was around every adult. Like I wasn't around any other kids, so it was just like me, full sentences. And like, yeah, Wasani. Well, Wasani calls me Wama. Well, so he has that. Yeah.
Great.
Wama.
That's because we just all kids do. Kids try their best, and then something always like doesn't make it doesn't make it in the end.
Yeah, like it doesn't. Yeah. No,
spaghetti is almost always spaghetti because it's like how it's too much. It was like I get you did the best.
You're spaghetti. Right, but my dad used to correct me. So
it is. Listen, spa.
Less anger. Let's
right
spa.
I want to say one other thing.
Spa.
Oh yeah.
Spa. Well, go ahead.
Well, did you like one thing? So then, okay. Did you like part of this? Going back to this thing we're talking about, where they go and like tour the venue, and then I think it's Holly that lets it be known that it's like a package deal at the venue. I think that. I'm going to say this. I think that the money thing is something that she's very pissed about. I think that she was really banking, literally and figuratively, on just giving up everything in whatever silly, dumb life she has and going to live like, a saved princess by this like hot South African, like business owner. And I think... I really think that she's not being super honest, and I don't think, or if she even has the capacity to emotionally deliver like what she's saying in her mind out of her lips. But like, I think that part is really pissed. And so when I picked up on that, it's just an interesting thing to say because there was something very much like it's not good enough. It's like it's basic or not good enough, or just this easy dumb thing like no frills attached kind of sentiment from someone again who I'm this was like has never shown us any idea that she would even know a high-class wedding from what looks like a nice venue with a package deal anyway.
Yeah, to me she seems like somebody who would want to get married in like a barn with like twinkle lights and like they just barbecue. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing about her that tells me that she would be somebody who'd be particular about a menu at their wedding, especially when they didn't pay for the wedding. Like as far as I know, unless she's given him money and just let him do whatever with it. Now me, I'm giving you money. I need to know exactly where my money's going and what fabulous thing I'm purchasing with. Everything else can be whack, but if the food is really important to me or the DJ is really important to me, I can pay for it, and I'm gonna give them the songs that they're gonna fucking play. Because if they come there with some bullshit, I'm gonna be mad. So like that's my thing. It's like she's just acting like Wayne is doing it, and I'm like, you need to do it, or at least explicitly have some kind of say. I mean, if she's letting the sister-in-law do it, like who knows what they're gonna get.
Yeah, it's like she really wants to like not make one decision, like she really wants to like kind of like sit back in like a very like whatever energy and just wants to be taken care of. But and I think, yeah, it's just, that's what I feel like. So funny. Anyway, but it's just, we'll just see what that means. If that is your chief goal, we'll get to see what that looks like, which I'm actually kind of excited about. Should we go on to our last?
I mean, what is there really to say about these dummies?
I know.
Yes. Like at this point, they're fucking dummies, and I don't have a picture of them. But here it is. Look at these two idiots. And you could already tell that in this picture that we are showing up, patreon.com/DocuSweeties, $10 a month, that his hair is short, so she's already pregnant.
Yeah, well, I could tell that because she's so slight and just there's a little bit of just a little bit of like cushion, a tiny or more amount of cushion to like her arms and her face, Yeah.
So, I mean, Lolo is not there and she just fucking went wild. Lolo was there and she was like, don't ask him for any fucking money. Just go out there and help him shovel the, like doing the rice patties. Like, be on your best behavior. The minute that man goes to Manila or Cebu or whatever major city he goes to work, she is fucking. And then fucking so much that she gets pregnant. And then Brandon's dumbass is like, I mean, we were trying to have a baby, but I didn't think it would happen so quickly. I just wanted to throw everything and get up and walk. I was like, you 20-year-old fresh spermed, fresh eggs, little idiots thought that it would take a while for you guys to get pregnant in your 20s when she's never been on birth control? Get out of here.
They've always been hard. They've always been a hard couple because it started off with them being incredibly codependent and creepy to a creepy degree where it was like, this is not going to be fun to watch. And then on top of that, we get two horrible traumatic backstories full of abandonment on both their parts that fuels, obviously, their like, very toxic relationship. So all of it's not great to watch, but then we get the saving grace of, okay, well, at least Brandan is now in, like a different locale, and we get to see this person like fish out of water. And that is is such a tried and true trope. You'll see it everywhere you go. It's like, okay, we'll get to experience, and see what it's like. And it is interesting to see him try and do that thing with the caribou. I almost call it marabou. But yeah, the fact that this episode just picks up like 6 months later, like it's not 6 months later, like it's like 3 months. It's 3 months later. Like, and I want to be like, what happened in the 3 months? Like, were you guys there every day and day out? Were they like, yeah, Lolo's gonna be going? So basically, just be like laying around all day fucking. You can't really film that. Like, come 1 or twice a day, until and the production was like, yeah, just give them like 2 weeks, and then they come back, and then all we get is a "how's it going in there" from a Brandan, just like, sitting on the bed. And as Wa said, Lolo is no go. And yeah, she's pregnant. She's happy. She's excited. They've been wanting this, which is obviously horrible. It's obviously horrible. It's like we all, I guess, are supposed to have our opinions to ourselves, and I hope they never hear that. To hear that, like, we don't think this was a great decision to make. There was nothing about your story that made us feel like you were stable enough emotionally, financially, any kind of way to bring another human into the mix. Last we heard from you, like, you basically had no money and you couldn't even ask Lolo for it. So now Lolo's gone, but you're going to get a new dependent. I'm sorry, that's what. Okay. And then the other thing, because we know how fucked up their whole lives have been, that you're like, well, I guess you just why would you not make bad decisions for the rest of your life? Who's
Yep.
going to have told you less? Who told you better than that? And at this point, am I just watching this, and how do I feel about it?
It's like if they hadn't said that we were trying, if they hadn't used the phrase "we were trying," then I think that I would be like, "Oh my god, these dumb kids!" Like, but it happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, she doesn't have much education. He seems like an idiot. But the fact that these two fucktards said that they were trying to have a baby when they hadn't even got fucking married yet, and she has some like weird attachment issue, like it's just like a perfect storm. And maybe it's because that's his house. Like maybe that's the thing. Like they have shelter. Rice doesn't cost that much, and whatever like fried vegetables or whatever. Like maybe he's like at the end of the day, like we will be able to afford to feed the child because we own this land. Maybe that's what it is. But I just, as Catholic as she was when he first got there, for her to be pregnant 3 months later is wild to me because they were trying. I think that's where I fucking lost them when they said we were trying.
I want like Nicola to come in and be like, oh, he didn't try hard enough. Can you imagine Nicola's whole life waited to have sex for this bitch to wait three months? And by the way, it wasn't the first time she had sex.
Like, yeah. Like it is. You know, Nicola is so strong in his conviction that I think really Nicola is just hoping against hope that something were to happen and give him what he wants. But you know, he thinks everything is up to God. So that's the end of this episode, y'all. We talked a lot of shit
too.
Yeah, we talked a lot of shit in this one, and it was great. You loved it. But if you would like to see the visuals of what you're listening to right now, you can find us on Patreon. It's $10 a month. We don't have different tiers. It's just this one. But you get the visuals of what you're seeing right now. You get a live every first Monday of the month. Which would, in this case, it'll be October 2nd. And other little fun things. Like I did like a fall fashion show that people got to see. So
we might have more tiers later. So if you're listening to this episode in the future, what Wah said might change. We evolve. Yeah. So
yes. But if you want to know about like our socials, Chris will tell you about that.
You know what? And again, socials evolve. Like for instance, remember this thing called Twitter, which I guess is now called X? Ugh, so dumb. It's like X, formerly known as Twitter, just like when Prince changed his name to that symbol, and it was the artist formerly known as Prince. But we are at DocuSweeties1 on that dumb platform. We are on the better one, Instagram, and TikTok at DocuSweeties. We're also on Facebook. You can think of that one what you will. DocuSweeties podcast group. And other than that, if you haven't given us 5 stars, I think this was a 5-star episode. I mean, usually, you know, sometimes I ask you to do it, and sometimes I'm like, maybe you should, but I'm telling you right now, my opinion matters. My opinion matters a lot. And my commentary, you know, people, you know, seem to like. And this one is a 5-star episode. So, Wah has been texting. To who? We don't know.
No, I haven't been texting. I just went to Instagram real quick to look at something, and then they showed me a picture of Sarah Jessica Parker 40 years ago and her now, and I'm like, what was the point of that? But we'll talk to you guys. We'll talk to you. Yeah, it is Discovery page. We'll talk to you guys later. We hope you have a good one. Bye. Bye.